Hey everybody. Okay, so I said in my last video that I was gonna try and be on the video more often. As you can see behind me are my girls, and I decided to come out here and do a little garden tour of my garden. Now, I made you two promises. I guess they were promises. I said I would show myself a lot more on the video, and then also that I was going to do a lot of cleanup, and there's going to be a lot of changes in this garden. So let's get to it. Okay, so part of the changes that I started doing was cleaning up because this garden was and still is messy. It's not where I want it to be yet, but we'll get to it. We'll get there hopefully soon. Hopefully before spring. That's my cutoff. I want to have everything cleaned up and cleared out as much as possible, and on the way to looking like the garden that I want it to look by springtime. By the time it's time for me to plant my garden, I want to be able to have all my new garden beds and stuff out here. The high beds I was telling you about, like the beds that I have against the fence here, because my dog likes to run through this part of my garden. She likes to run through it, and her paws are big. She's not that big of a dog, but her paws are big, and so she rips up and tears up and displaces my irrigation tubing and stuff. So I can't have that. So you remember I got this bed. I had covered it up again because the wind just keeps blowing everything around, but I'm trying to keep this one covered as possible, so it'll be ready for spring planting. But recently I have been working on this bed over here to get this one ready, and as you can see, I got this one all covered up with cardboard and stuff. So I have photos that I'll show you. But what I did was I just did a rough chop and drop on this bed, and then I laid all that down, chopped up, cut down the weeds and stuff, laid it all down, and then added some clippings from my trees over there. If you can, way over there where the chickens are. Clippings from my oleander trees over there. And I had a lot of people in my gardening group say stuff about oleander. Oh no, it's poisonous. You can't use that. Oh no, you can't eat stuff grown from that bed now because it's all poison. But that's not true. Oleanders are green organic matter, just like everything else in the garden. It breaks down and it decomposes, and you can compost it. And so I have some of the branches from the oleander in this bed, and then I top that with straw. The straw is to help keep any of the weeds and stuff that was in this bed from regrowing or growing through. It kind of helps to suffocate the weeds and stuff. And then I put a layer of chipped wood and manure on top of the straw, and then I layered a leaf mulch on top of the manure, and then I put the irrigation drip system back on, and then I covered it over with this cardboard. And the cardboard is just so that hopefully it'll further continue to smother out and stifle any weed growth while this bed lays in wait for spring planting. So we'll see what happens. I know that it works. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna grow in my bed over there, whoop, right there. And all my new beds and some of the new stuff that I want to do. First, we have to take down this patio cover right here before I could even start to build my beds for this area over here. And I'm gonna reconfigure everything, so I'm just looking forward to just doing stuff, just trying to keep busy with some of the things I need to do to clean up this garden area, make it a little more presentable. I have a lot of people asking if they could come and see my garden, and I don't mind showing off my garden and sharing it with people and showing people what I do. I don't think what I do is anything particularly special. I'm not an expert or anything. I just try and experiment, and I do a lot of research to see what works. I was showing you my apple. My apple tree is starting to crown or sprout, and I just think it's so cute because they're just like little fuzzies coming out. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not an expert. I just try and do what makes sense to me, and sometimes the things that make sense to me goes against everything that everybody says to do, and I fail because that's something that was tried and tested, and it just was, didn't work. But there are some things that, I try out and they do work. And so right now I'm just trying to figure those things out that work best for me in my garden at the elevation that I am in, and in the environment with the humidity or lack of and lack of water. I live in the desert, in the high desert. So although it does get cold and we do sometimes get snow and there's a good frost that we get during the winter, this is still a desert, lots of sand and clay dirt and stuff. And it's still a not very ideal, I guess, place to garden, but you gotta just get used to and get to know your geographical location and how that translates into the environment, a growing environment, and how you can build your soil and then build your garden to what you want it to accomplish. So basically that's all I'm doing, is just trying out different things. Like with these 3 beds right here. In this bed, I did a leaf mulch and compost, and you can see that must have been a lot of grass seed mixed in that, because that's what's coming up, is a lot of grass. And I do have garlic over here. That first row is garlic, and then that second row are onions. I do have those growing, but for the most part, it's grass in here. And then with this pine needle mulch that I put in the straw underneath with the manure in the middle as the middle layer, you can see I have garlic, elephant garlic, that's growing right here. And then over here I have a row of onions, and a few things popped up here and there because it got really cold, and so things didn't grow as well. I did get my first mushrooms. Now they're all looking sad. This morning they were standing up pretty. I have a better picture of them. But I did manage to grow some mushrooms in here. There's not very many weeds, as you can see. There's not very many weeds growing in here, so the pine needles it's doing its job, keeping the weeds down, and I like that. But with this bed right here, it's a lot of grass and weeds that are popping through. And this one, it's hardly any. I can keep up with the weeds that are growing in here, and actually I have gone through and pulled every so often when I had some. But yeah, and then this third bed over here was wood chips on top. And as you can see, there's more weeds growing in this bed than this other bed over here, but it's still manageable. And so I'm just trying to see what is gonna work for me. And my kale is doing good, and my snap peas are getting there. Oh, that one's starting to have a blossom. They're starting to thrive because all the cold is over and gone. So that's good. Let's see, what else is new? I had potted this fig that I got at Tractor Supply, and we'll see. We'll see how it does. I imagine it's gonna do pretty good. And let's see, I just planted that, and oh, there's another mushroom. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Another mushroom growing. Now this one isn't in a garden box, but still, you know, anytime there's mushrooms in your garden, it's a good thing. Mushrooms are indicators of the soil health and that things is happening. Good soil is being produced, rich soil is being produced. And so, you know, I really welcome mushrooms in the garden. And I guess there was one other thing I wanted to show you, and that's the other side of the yard where the potatoes are. So let's go there. Okay, so I wanted to show you my potatoes are making a comeback. They were doing fine, and then that cold weather hit with all that snow, and so they're making a comeback now. So that's good to know. The potatoes in this bed hasn't sprouted yet, so we're still waiting on that to see how that turns out. I still have to get a lot of these leaves up. I had cleared out this area over here. It was just swimming in leaves. The leaves were like, I don't know, 6 inches deep. So I got that cleared out, and that's what went in that other bed. But I still have a lot of leaves over here. And what happens is the wind blows everything this direction anyways. And so every time I put leaves over in my compost area, they just blow all back, swirl, and blow back over to here and pile up instead. So I have to make sure that I close this. It's a gate little fence that I have right here. Make sure I close it when I do put the leaves over here, and that'll kind of keep them from swirling around. This fruitless mulberry tree that I have right here, I have some professionals coming out so they could cut this tree back considerably for me, and then they're gonna chip up the branches and the wood for me so that I can put it back and use it back in my garden. So I'm happy for that. Okay, and last on this tour, I wanted to show you what my seedlings are doing here. My seedlings are doing very well. Right now the temperature is 89 degrees in here, and they seem to be doing good. I got some of them are already starting to form their regular leaves, so I think they're doing really good. Look at that. The last time I tried indoor sprouting of seeds, they all germinated, but then the fungus gnats got to them and ate up all the roots and under the soil, and so the seedlings died. Either they died, so most of them died, and others that didn't die, their growth was stunted because of it. Their growth halted altogether because of it. So I'm hoping for a better turnout with these, so I can just plant those directly out. These are all my cold weather stuff. So I'll be able to plant those out in the garden bed and see if I could get something going with that. So, okay. So that's all I have for you right now. I said I was going to do some cleanup, and I did. And I took down that greenhouse that was right here and cleared out a lot of this stuff right here and over here. And so next it'll be taking this patio cover down and starting my garden beds for out here, and getting it all the irrigation rerouted and reconnected. Next time the trees will all be trimmed, because I'm getting my pomegranate tree right here is going to get trimmed, and This big pine is gonna get trimmed, and there's a little pine tree over here that is gonna get taken out completely tomorrow. And this this big dead pine right here is gonna get taken out completely. That one is the one that worries me or concerns me, because that one, it's dead. And if it's not all the way dead yet, it will be soon, because it has a pine beetle. I guess that's all these little holes and stuff. At first I was thinking that was just the woodpecker making those holes, but no, it's got a pine beetle infestation. So this will be coming down, and it's so big, it's so tall, the tree. I just would hate for it to, with our winds, for it to blow over, rot inside or whatever, and blow over on my neighbor's house, which is just right there, or my house, which is just right there. So that's why I'm gonna have somebody come out and take that down. So yeah, there'll be some changes the next video. So you know what, I thank you for watching and being a part of this. And like I said, I'm trying to get it together and get it nice, because not necessarily for you guys, but for me. I want to be able to come out here and just relax. I come out here every morning as it is, because I like being in my garden. I like seeing things grow, but this will make it even more appealing, more presentable. So when I have people that want to come through and see the garden, then I can show them the garden, and it'll be even, what was it, more better when that pond finally gets put in, and then there's sounds of, cascading water, a waterfall, and it'll just be really nice. So I just want to thank you for watching, and thank you for any comments that you want to leave, and any suggestions or advice. I'll thank you in advance for that, and encourage you that if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Look at Tiger coming to check things out. And as always, God bless.